You don't start out outlining a sci-fi novel, you start by outlining a novel or a story. Sci-fi plays into it because it allows you to do things you might not normally be able to do in a regular fictional universe that is present day. So you have the luxury of being able to use future science or future sociology or psychology per se to help your story along. So it helps the story, but you don't start out by outlining a science fiction novel. You start out by outlining a story.
I love the world, and I will go ahead and I'll come up with this really cool concept for a world, and this world will be really neat. And I'm so interested in making the world. I'm like making the Let's Go guide to some futuristic or some alternate whatever, and the actual individual plot, not so much. I feel if you build the world, the characters will then populate it and a plot will kind of show up.
My process is that everything has to make sense. So Eytan will bring a beautiful concept to me, a beautiful world, or he might have an idea for where he wants something to go, but it has to sort of pass this test of, does that make sense? Would somebody really spend the time to go to this part of the world given all the other stuff we've talked about that is now currently going on? And if Eytan can't really convince me of it, then even though he might have created something really neat, I'll make an argument for it not being part of our outline. He'll have to agree, because it is a collaboration, but that's generally the criteria by which I end up, putting in the fine points of the story, the sharper edges of the plot, and that's how we operate. If he feels that it's, if he can't defend that universe or that part of the universe, then it doesn't end up in the story.
Subplot is those little interactions that take place that, in my opinion, and here's where sometimes Donnie and I disagree, build the world and make it a richer, more contextual place.
A subplot really, I think, is like, for example, even though the main theme of our story is, or the overarching theme is what price freedom, the subplot would be, what does it mean to be human? A subplot, with the artificial intelligence that we have actually achieving sentience, a subplot would be their struggle with their own humanity, even though they're not actually human. A subplot would be, for example, what does religion look like in the future, in which man supposes himself to be his own technological god. These would be subplots that naturally emerge anyways when you're doing an overarching theme like we did in our series of books, What Price Freedom. Those are the undercurrents of that, and they emerge through different characters as we write. Eytan will tell you sometimes
So
characters just show up.
If you build a complex enough world, the subplots will show up.
Correct.
Thank you for listening. Please review our other available content for help writing, publishing, and marketing your book. If you have any questions about the Author Learning Center, please contact us by email at authorsupport@authorlearningcenter.com.